We're starting this one with the silent treatment because Laurie is grounding right now. So while Laurie's grounding, I'll tell you who Laurie is. Hi, Laurie.
Hey.
So, you know what's really funny? I just played that game today on Facebook. Where you list like all the famous people you know, and like one of them's a lie that you haven't had a conversation with. And I thought,
Right,
I don't even know why I'm doing this game because I don't really give about
right.
celebrities. I'm like, I would way rather talk to my friend Laurie. So none of these conversations actually matter to me. I was like, I like the people I'm actually talking with here, and
Right.
the celebrity thing doesn't do it for me. But I played the game anyway because
Because it's
what,
fun and we're bored.
we're bored. I'm not
Yeah.
bored. I'm full of things to do. You're not
Oh,
bored.
no, no. It's so funny because I do find so many people are doing those things, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Exactly. Well, wait, didn't you do the rancher one?
Rancher.
I'm sorry. The Wild West. What character were you in the Wild West?
No, I didn't see. I won't do those ones because,
They just steal your information.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, I
But
checked them out. I checked out because I always check the permissions.
right.
And I decided I was okay with that one because my
Uh-huh.
friend Britta did it and she was the barkeeper and I wanted to know what I was. And I was the rancher,
Right.
but 30 years later, she was like 1860 something and I was 1890 something. And I
Uh-huh.
thought, oh, so I'm the old lady rancher sitting in the corner of her bar, just
There you go.
day drinking and
Yeah.
and then a bunch of my friends came in as gunslingers and things like that. I was like, oh, so you guys are fighting outside the bar.
Huh. See, probably I didn't want to do that because I'd be the saloon girl, you know? I didn't want anybody to know.
Okay, I already know.
Yeah. And plus,
Okay,
I don't
so
know why it bothers me because, all my friends that have already said yes and played that game have given my information anyways.
they
So
already gave it away. But that's why you
like my
make fake personalities online anyway and
right.
shapeshift
Yeah,
all day long.
there you go.
I mean, this is kind of amazing that you're actually on this video because I know how much you love to be photographed. I mean, you just love it so much.
I
You
just
never,
love it.
ever,
Yes.
ever, ever do it.
Yeah. Yep. This is definitely pushing my boundaries, this and also the whole thing about what's going on right now where that's how you have to connect is, pretty much online. I mean, obviously you can do it on the phone, but everybody, you want to see each other. And it's just kind of funny about really seeing, and whether we have really been seeing each other. And I think that's a great metaphor for what's going on is I think people haven't been feeling seen, quote unquote. So
That's interesting.
yeah, so I,
That's right up my alley.
yeah, I know. It's so funny because I laughed. We were texting, trying to get together, and I texted you 5 minutes, and then I ran to the bathroom, and when I came back out, you said, "I'm setting up 5 minutes," and we sent it at the exact same time.
Are you serious? That wasn't a response? That was a,
No,
oh,
yeah,
wow. We do
yeah.
that a lot, don't we?
I know. And I laughed and I was thinking, this came into my head the other day. Great minds think alike. Not think, but think. Because and also not so great think alike as well. Because people match vibration, they match the frequency. And so many people just take that for granted. And
You need
it's
to
so
make that a
true.
thing.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike. Yeah, that's so, oh my God, that's awesome right there.
Thank you. That's
Um,
it's full of awesome. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like like, you know, vibrate alike. Well, so I keep meaning to introduce how we met. So we
Oh,
were part of, for people who don't know, we were part of Kyle Cease's, um, oh God, I hope I screwed this. No, what was it called? That was the name of his book. it is some group title that had no name, and we didn't really know what it was. And we signed up to do 6 months of coaching every single day for 6 months on a live Zoom call. So we're all super familiar with Zoom. Kyle started at 6 a.m. He actually, and then after a while started at 5 a.m. to do
No,
an
6:30.
Was it 6:30?
Oh, yes.
Really? I thought it was, well, it doesn't matter because it was 9 o'clock for me.
I
And,
know.
and so the only reason I said yes was because I was like, no way, I'm not getting up at 6 anything to do
Right.
this, but I'll totally do it at 9. And so we did that for 6 months. There were 50 of us. And I
Mhm.
knew, before it started, I knew one person in the group.
Mhm.
That was
Mhm.
Sylvia. And I joined after asking Sylvia what she, I mean, I knew Kyle already.
Mhm.
Personally, I'd photographed him. Um, and I was still sort of oof, this is a lot of money. Am I going to
Yeah.
say yes to this?
Yeah.
And I said, Syl, what do you think? And she's like, oh, hell yeah, I'm doing it. I was like, okay, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. It feels
Yeah.
like a hell yeah. Like she convinced me that it was a hell yeah.
Right.
So we did it. And as everyone knows, my biggest frustration
Uh-huh.
was that we were all connecting on Zoom and I couldn't feel the connections.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I mean,
Mhm.
I love Zoom or any kind of recording as, after you know someone, I think it's a great way to connect.
Right.
Family, friends, loved ones, whatever. But
Mhm.
with someone that you don't know at all, unless it's one-on-one, where then there's something there.
Right.
50 people, that's 3 screens of people that I was scrolling through trying to see, wait, like I don't remember. Somebody was always asleep and I don't even remember who that was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't I, I don't know who it was, but like I remember watching people sleeping
Mhm.
and and just not having a sense of, also watching the chat and having to line up the chat name with the picture. So I
Right.
didn't know who was saying what.
Right.
And I wasn't getting a sense of who was who. You stood out a little bit, but still I didn't feel like we didn't have any interaction directly.
Right. Yeah.
Then at
No.
the end, we had that weekend together. And for me, that was the highlight of the whole experience
Yeah.
because it brought so many things together
Right.
with a lot of aha and a lot of like, oh,
Oh.
God, I really got that wrong, or I got that person's energy so wrong.
Uh-huh.
I felt a lot of that, and I felt a lot of just surprise happy.
Yeah.
So you were like one of my biggest surprise happies, uh,
Oh, I know. I know.
and I would not have known that if we had left it at just the Zoom call. Like
Right.
I probably wouldn't know you today.
Right. Oh, totally. Exactly. That and you and oh my God, and I'm totally forgetting her name. Angela.
And I was going to say Angela. Yeah.
I was kept thinking Amber, but Angela. Of course, I ended up living right down the street from Angela, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Are the people that I've stayed in touch with the most. And exactly, like we hadn't really connected when we were on the calls. And it's so funny because literally on the calls, I didn't even know that you could go through and see everybody. I was just doing the speaker view, with Kyle. And then um, Karen had said to me something about, all the people. And I'm like, what do you mean all the people? And I'm like,
How
I
funny.
don't care. I'm just on there for my thing. I want to see what's going on with Kyle and what's going on. And I just, so it was really funny because it took me a while to even realize that you could scroll through people. And I wasn't really, um, connecting into that, for a while.
Right. You were just like this. It's just me and Kyle. I'm just talking to him.
Yeah. Well, also, anyone that knows me and doesn't even have to know me very well knows that I am not a morning person. So,
Mm.
um, yeah,
So
that's,
you might have been the person sleeping on the calls.
I was not.
Oh.
No, I think that might have been Carla, actually. I think it was Carla would be in bed. Yeah.
Anyway, so that was great. I'm super, super happy that we did connect. And then, oh my God, we could not stop talking. I mean,
Yeah,
if you put
as
us
you
in
can.
a room together, we'll just fill up the whole room with
Fun.
fun and
Yeah,
sparkles. And
good sparkles.
yeah, yeah. Um, oh, I hear sirens here.
Oh,
Yeah, that's always, you know, we live in that, well, you've been here. You
yeah.
stayed on the couch right over there, which
Yes.
actually isn't here anymore.
Oh,
Um, yeah, we
had to
wrote,
get rid of it after I stayed there.
no, no, no. Well, you know how I am about furniture. Like my
Yeah,
whole life is rearranging my furniture. Um, yeah, so whenever the police or the fire are needed here,
right.
it's a air raid siren that goes off. Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
it's very weird because it's funny. It is like a weird metaphor for this virus.
Right.
So the whole
Absolutely.
town knows that something's happening, but no one knows what it is, except for the people who are connected to the police and fire, and you know they're all
Right,
being called or texted or whatever, and they know what it is, and the rest of us
right.
are like, oh
Yeah,
gosh, did someone crash? Did someone
yeah,
have a heart attack? Did someone, you know, boat accident, car accident?
right.
Like, it's very
Yeah,
weird.
boy, what a metaphor, definitely, for
I
what's going
know,
on. Just that unease.
right?
Yeah,
So, you know, if you are one kind of person, you'll just sit there and go, well, okay, I'm praying for whoever it is, whatever it is, and I'm gonna
right.
go back to cooking dinner now. And then if you're another kind of person, you probably panic.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, and so this same siren means
right.
different things to different people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah,
just like anything, I mean, obviously, I talk about this a lot, being an astrologer, and just the way that people's different views, their different perspectives, and absolutely different filters, and where you're coming from, and also life experience.
yeah.
And you
So,
never
well, and so one of the reasons I was dying to talk to you is to hear you, like, your view on,
know.
you know, what you personally are going through, also what we, you know, it could be planet, could be society, like just whatever you feel called to say about what's going on for right now.
Okay. Interesting, because I think like everybody, it kind of almost changes day to day, and that's really um, what's going on for a lot of people. Um, so yes, and if anybody else is, ends up watching this. So I'm an astrologer. I've been an astrologer forever.
You speak astrology. You're not just an it's like in your
Yeah,
DNA astrologer. I mean,
definitely.
you speak a different language, and it's the coolest thing to watch you do.
It's funny because when people say, do you speak another language? And I'm like, oh yeah, um, just watch. Um, but it's so great too. And sometimes I really miss, when I can talk to other astrologers, because it is speaking another language, and it's like shorthand, because it's symbology, it's archetypes, and it has so many layers, so many meanings, and it's so in depth, just like people, because people can get kind of resistant, or like, oh, I'm not that. And that's really like the very shallow forecast, like you'd read in the newspaper. That's just for entertainment, that's just for fun. That's not that's like saying blondes have more fun, brunettes are smarter. It's a generalization, but it is fun, and sometimes they're spot on and sometimes they're not. But people are complicated, people are complex, and someone's astrology chart shows the complexity. And it's funny you said DNA, because I like to look at the astrology chart like your like spiritual DNA. you know
Yeah.
this is what you've come into or come in for. And the type of astrology that I do is evolutionary, which is about your personal growth. There is different specialties in astrology, and a lot of people don't even know that. But mundane astrology has to do with world politics. And I
You call it mundane astrology?
I know, isn't it funny? It's called mundane. Yeah.
Oh,
But I there's, gosh, so many things. And it's funny because, once you get me talking about astrology, I'll have to like go, oh, Tanya, let me let you talk. Um, but especially right now, everybody being shelter in place, quarantined, sequestered. Um, it's interesting on an astrological level because there are these points, they're actually points in space. They're called the nodes of the moon. And it has to do with the orbit of the moon. And when it's furthest away from the Earth and furthest away and closest on the elliptical um, orbit. And that shows in the kind of astrology that I do, when it's furthest away, it's kind of like what we've already done, the south node, our habits, because the moon always has to do with our habits, has to do with how we feel secure, reflexive behavior, unconscious behavior. In astrology, even like correlating to like psychology, people will say that you do your moon for about the first 5-6 years of your life, of your chart, and then you go into your sun. So it's really the things that are deeply ingrained. Like my mentor used to say, if you want to see, how someone, their moon sign reacts, just make them insecure, because that's where they come from. You'll see whatever their moon is in, like that kind of behavior. That's what gets.
So, okay, so let's just take me as an example, because you know how I like stories and examples. So I'm a Scorpio sun, Pisces moon.
Yep.
Because I love that you walk around and you just know what my moon is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And Cancer rising.
and Cancer rising. Okay,
Yeah.
so that means what? That means that I respond like a Pisces, or that if you accuse me of something that a Pisces wouldn't like, I react.
Well, it is funny because you're a Scorpio, and Scorpios, because that's also a water sign, that's very, can be reactive as well, self-protective. But Pisces can kind of, retreat. And it's funny because Scorpio also does that, because you can retreat and be like, because Pisces can do that where it just backs off, and it can kind of want to numb, and it can go a few ways, because Pisces reflexive behavior, when it's uncomfortable, can be like it just wants to paint a pretty picture and things be bunny rabbits and fluffy clouds. Or it can also do the pity party. I feel sorry for me. And it doesn't, every sign has their downfalls. It's not just bagging on Pisces, but also the, wanting to numb. So it can kind of check out, like with eating or drinking or drugs. But it can also get triggered into, I want to help the underdog, because
So true. I think I'm disappearing here, so I'm going to turn a light on.
which is hilarious, because
Light?
that's a Piscean thing.
Is it? Okay, maybe I'll just disappear because I'm a Pisces.
Yes, exactly. Fades into the, exactly. That is so funny. Art imitating life, or life.
Like the light's kind of cool, but it's about to go. Well, I'll just give it like another minute, and then I'll.
It looks really amazing.
I feel like a painting. I feel like
I was just going to say, you're like in a monastery there.
I'm like a Vermeer. Oh, and
yes.
We have to talk about your painting, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we'll talk about that. Let me finish about the north and south.
Right. Yeah.
Basically, these points, in evolutionary astrology, indicate our bad habits, and then what we're working towards evolving into, what we're growing into, like the new shoes that we have to break in. And we have them each in our own chart, for our personal life. And then the ones that are in the sky right now, in orbit, indicate what we're learning on a global level, what everybody is learning together.
Mhm.
So what's happening right now is that point um, of our bad habits and what we've kind of used in a negative way is in the sign of Capricorn. And so that it really shows us where we can get into fear, where we can get into ruthlessness and being really cold and cut off, just caring about achievement and status and reputation over, family and feeling and emotion. And I know you can't make this stuff up, can you?
I know we're trying to keep it PG here, but
Yeah, I know.
we don't care because it's our TV show.
Yeah, yes, you dear. And then, and Capricorn has great qualities. Oh,
I'm back.
come to the light, Carol Ann. And Capricorn has great qualities of, providing structure, goal orientation, ambition. And what Capricorn in its best is integrity in leadership and being an elder and, being there for society and showing the way of, the wisdom that you've learned through experience. And so that's the great use of it. Now, definitely seeing the not so great use and that fear and that isolation. It's funny because actually it's like in tarot, I'd probably say it's like the Hermit card, because it's solitary. Capricorn's very solitary. So the North Node, what we're learning and trying to integrate is in Cancer. And I mean, I have to almost laugh that we've had to like stay in our homes.
Become homebodies, right?
Yeah, and Cancer is the sign of the home. It rules real estate. It has to do with the nurturing, mothering principle, the connection, between family and ancestry, lineage, cooking, and our habits, our reflexive behavior, and really
Wow.
looking at those things and going within, because no matter what, the home is really in here. It's really our intuition. We have to go into our feeling. We have to just get back in touch with our intuition, because we've been so focused externally on material wealth, material gain, and status and reputation. And it's funny because people have been talking a long time about the balance coming back towards the matriarch instead of the patriarch. This particular axis, Capricorn and Cancer, is exactly that. So we're right at the end of this cycle, and it will switch over like May 7th. So I feel like it's just like, that's just one thing that's going on astrologically. But it's kind of like, how life is when you don't get the lesson, and then all of a sudden it gets louder and louder. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Cancer is a more feminine sign?
Yes. It's actually, if you were Capricorn, actually represents patriarchal energy. And then Cancer represents the mother, the matriarch. So if you were
Really?
looking at the father, you would go to Capricorn. Mother would be Cancer. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. And it's so funny when people, say, "Oh, I don't believe in that," and I'm like, "Great, I'm not trying to sell you on it."
You don't have to. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. It's astrology has been around for thousands of years, and no matter what, all roads lead to Rome. So if somebody gets insight or wisdom in another way, that's great. But for me, astrology has just been so helpful to me in my own life and to my clients. It's just one of those things I so often hear people say, "Oh, I'm not crazy," or "Oh, I knew it," or "Oh my God, been following me all my life," it's just amazing. So,
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it's there are a lot of ways that messages get delivered to us.
Absolutely.
And it's one of the ways. And I
Yes.
think it's a great way. And yeah, it's really helpful to me when it feels right.
Yeah.
And that's another part of it that works for me, is like, oh, that resonates, that works. Now, like, it puts words to things that I was thinking or feeling that I couldn't quite articulate.
Absolutely.
Like, it's like the vibrations connect. It's the sync,
Yes, to think.
it's the
Yeah.
sync.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
because
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I was told, well, I always was given the Libra horoscope. Like, I
Uh-huh.
always read Libra because I thought, well, October 23rd, I think I'm a Libra, right?
Right. Right.
A lot of people think, and other people get even that day confused, but turns out I'm, whatever, 15 minutes or so into Scorpio.
Right.
But when I learned that, I just went, of course, like,
Right.
no,
Right.
and
Yeah.
for me, it made a lot of sense. Um,
Yeah.
so
I know. It's pretty amazing. And how sometimes it's so spot on, it's kind of hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
forgot.
if I don't know if I ever told you this, but I once shot. Well, I've had two weddings where people asked for pictures related to months. So at one wedding, it was by
Okay.
sign,
Uh-huh.
by star sign,
Uh-huh.
and at a different wedding, it was by month. So that's generally the same thing, but slightly off,
Uh-huh.
right? Because you could be at the end of the
Yeah.
month and then you're the next sign. But
Right.
at both weddings, I noticed, just because I, was with these people for whatever, a weekend,
Right.
and I noticed that groups of friends generally stood together.
Yeah.
So at one wedding, it was, oh, and I see that all the parents and the parents' friends were in a
Mhm.
certain group and category, but then
Mhm.
the bride and groom, or just the groom and his friends, were in a certain category. Like, I have a ton of female Aries friends, not so many male Aries.
Right.
Um, and then a bunch of Scorpio women, but I kind of don't know any Capricorns except for one. You actually met him. Do you remember Tony that we had dinner with?
Oh yeah.
He's a Capricorn, which
Oh
makes
yeah,
sense
yeah.
because
Nice guy.
he's like an amazing leader
Right.
person.
Right. Right.
We're super frustrated because he can't, like, lead right now.
Right.
Mm,
Right. Oh,
his
Capricorn,
hands
that's
are
the worst. If
his hands are tied.
Capricorn can't work, it's like he's in jail. He's in
Yeah,
torturing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's awful. They
yeah.
love work.
He's in jail right now, and he should be out there. Like, he could replace Donald Trump and do a better job. Like, that's how qualified he
Vote
is.
for him.
Um, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was so interesting to watch this in front of my eyes at two different
Mm.
weddings,
Yeah.
um, and the alignment was unmistakable. And
Yeah.
I also thought it was a really cool thing for these people to ask to do.
Yeah. That's totally cool and original. And but it's like that syncing because everything has a vibration and all of the signs, it's the same thing. And sometimes people get along that you would think, oh, that sign doesn't go together. But then actually, if you do look at like the moon signs, they really get along. So you connect on a different level, like emotionally, or sometimes you can just really talk to the person. Their Mercury's, the communication planets are great or
Yeah.
not great. So
There must be something, like, with Sydney, because, of course I looked up his sign before I considered seriously dating this person. He's Aquarius, for God's sakes. Like, I one of the worst relationship experiences of my life was with an Aquarian. Um,
well, yeah, it's funny though, because I'm pretty sure your Venus, well, actually, I'm gonna just look at
I
your,
love it. I'm in
I'm gonna
Laurie's
look,
Rolodex.
I'm gonna look at your, let's see, just see if your Venus is in, yeah, that's what I thought. Your Venus is in Libra, which is an air
An
sign.
air sign, and so is Aquarius.
Yeah, exactly. And him being an Aquarius, that's an air sign as well. So there would be that connection. But then again, what else is going on in his chart?
Right.
You know what I mean? That connects with your chart. And it's funny because sometimes fixed signs, so that's Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. Those are the signs, those four. They all have, it's what's called a modality. And it's like how they act. Like there's cardinal signs, they're initiators. Fixed signs are the people that carry things out. Um, Funny, because I like to say stubborn because I have a Taurus moon. And my mentor, who's now passed over, she would, or, in spirit, uh, she would say, "Oh no, dear, we say determined." And I laugh and I would always say, "Yes, I know, but I have a Taurus moon, so I can totally say I'm stubborn." But I've noticed that often fixed signs will like to get together with other fixed signs because there's kind of a friction and you can push each other, and it's almost like there's a bit of excitement in that. So it's really interesting because you're both strong personalities,
Right.
but both super loyal. Like the fixed signs are the most loyal. Like when they're committed, they're committed. It's so that's always great. I always say great to have Scorpio friends because you need someone to bury the body. They'll come with the shovel, snacks, and never tell anybody. So
Shovel and snacks. Oh, nice.
yeah, exactly. Well, you're prepared, resourceful. You're going to cover all the bases. Exactly. Well, yeah, we're gonna have a snack afterwards because because we expended so much
Bury
energy.
the body and have some chips.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny. Um, that's the Plutonian humor for you. Their Scorpio humor.
Nice.
Mhm.
So how is it in LA? You're in LA.
Yeah.
That's why it's all dark here, and you know, uh, this is
Yes.
my mystical conversation in the
Yes.
dark.
You're riding on into the night before me, just like a
Yeah.
Scorpio. Yeah. Um,
So what does it feel like in LA now? Um, on the streets, around.
well, for one thing, no traffic, which is, absolutely right there is a miracle. Um, It's been interesting because as this has been progressing, I think we went on like mandatory or suggested shelter in place like around March 24th. That's when things started closing down. Um, uh, I noticed, I was going to the store, things were bought out. I mean, obviously, there's been the whole thing about the toilet paper. Um, and there was panic in that, like the buying. But what was funny is people were really polite and, no problem, moving over and making jokes and kind of like that unease in jokes. And now I've really noticed, like when I go walking, because I mean, you got to walk, you got to get out in the sunshine, people. If you can get out in nature at all. Of course, the beaches are closed, and I live close to the beach here, and that's been kind of a nightmare, especially for people that live close, and especially like if you're in an apartment,
Mhm.
that's how people here would go and walk on the beach, and now we can't. Which is to me really devastating. And I understand people have been not um, distancing themselves enough, which is one of those things I want to talk about. Um, and so when I walk on the street, though, I notice some people just won't even like make eye contact with you. They won't even say hello. They're very, you can feel like their fear. And then other people are just like, smile and say hello. And it's been very different because I feel like that kind of fear and people like really backing up and has been getting more. Of course, maybe they're just afraid of me and they're backing up. But yeah, it's been really, and also the lines at the store where, they've been out the door and sometimes like around the block. But of course, I live in a really big city, so there's a lot of people. Yeah. So, but
Line Are the lines all spaced out? Like
oh yeah,
Yeah.
People are keeping their distance in that way. Um, I think I might have mentioned this to you, where I think it's so funny that they're calling this social distancing when
Mhm.
it's physical distancing.
Right.
It's not social distancing. Social distancing is when you're sitting in the, like next to a person at a table and you're both on the phone.
Right.
Okay.
Not
To
each
somebody
other.
else. Yeah. You see the five kids all hanging out and they're all on their phone, on Instagram or whatever. They're not even talking to each other. That to me is social distancing
Right.
because we're not physical distancing.
Right. And
And
that's the word. That's more depressing than anything.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's isolating.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, well, obviously that's one great outcome of what's happening right now. So, most of the people that I know, certainly the ones I've been talking to are pretty, I'm going to not just say optimistic, but it's not optimistic. It's not hopeful. They're kind of glad this is happening in not obviously at the human level, but
right,
they're just like, oh, we needed things to change.
right,
Like, can you think of another way that they were actually going to change?
right,
Like,
right, right. It goes back to that, the universe will go, can you hear me now? And the thing is, we do it, well, we hopefully do it on a personal level. I mean, everybody goes through cycles in their lives. Like when I do astrology, that's what I talk about because we all go through our cycles and we go through that as a collective because we're learning our individual lessons and then we all, I believe, have contracts coming back together in these same times where we're learning things. That's what we're here for. And sometimes we learn them quicker than others, and but I always feel like it's this variation on a theme where, because I've seen people get really frustrated and go, oh, I thought I learned this, and it makes me laugh because I feel like, oh, you wouldn't probably still be on the planet, because I feel like we learn just one level and then we come back around and it's a deeper level. And I'm sure you can relate to this in photography where it's like, oh, now look at it this angle. Now look at it this angle. Now you get this perspective, you get this light. And it's the same, like all roads lead to Rome. There's always this thing to me about really getting to the essence, to the core, which I think is that divine spirit within us. We're always, I love this quote, and I don't even know if it's for real, but supposedly someone asked Michelangelo how he did the David. And he said, I just chipped away everything that wasn't the David, you know?
yeah,
And that's what I feel like that's what we're doing here. And sometimes, we have to go to our room, because we've just been, on the wrong road, going down the wrong way, doing, just getting way off our path.
yeah. Yeah, and like you just said, it is like photography and not necessarily different angles of the same thing, but maybe revisiting a person or a subject or a family,
Oh,
like over
yes.
and over and over. And I have people I've photographed for 10 years, and or even just a person I photographed once a few years ago, and they look at the picture and say, "Gosh, I feel like such a different person now. Like they almost don't even relate to."
Right.
Who that image was. And it goes the other way too. I could give a person an image that they aren't even ready for yet because
Right.
I'm giving them a version of themselves that they haven't yet connected with. So I'm connecting to an energetic
Right.
part of the person
Right.
that I know is that core spirit. I know that's who they are.
Right. You're seeing them.
Geraldine, perfect example. Like I
Yeah.
absolutely knew I was seeing her.
Right.
And then boom, and look how and so quickly she really like stepped into that person. I mean, we
Ah.
were goofing around taking pictures
Yeah.
for fun, and then it was an album cover for her. And then like it's just explosion of like beauty and like wonderful stuff. But in the moment, it was like, oh, I don't know, on my hair, and I feel bad. And, and every woman I know, pretty much every woman I have ever photographed is like, oh God, no, not me, not today. Like, like
Yeah. Ding.
it's so hilarious to me that the women are never ready.
Uh,
There is such a masculine feminine divide
uh,
in the work that I do.
I'm sure.
Like the ways the women are self-critical, the ways that they sit on the photos after they have them, and they're like, oh, I don't know. And then like a year later, they're like, that one, oh my God, I look so great. Because, now they're
Right.
a year later, whatever. Meanwhile,
Right.
the men, like Lee Harris, perfect example.
Right.
Um, I mean, first of all, because we do it intuitively, he's game to do whatever the heck I say. And I'm like, I
Right.
don't know. I like this hallway. Like, let's shoot here. I don't
Right.
know what it's about. And
Right.
boom, it becomes a thing later. Like,
Yeah.
he finds a way.
Yeah.
Uh, but he takes action. It's such a interesting difference where he takes the photo and right away turns it into a course or a thing or a meme or a post.
Right.
There's a there's such an interesting difference,
Yeah.
the masculine feminine energy of a
Yes.
person and what that means when they're handed a photograph,
Oh, absolutely.
or even how they are in the moment that we're doing it.
Yeah.
So in
Yes.
some ways, as much as my whole life is kind of about photographing women, like that's my
Mm.
thing.
Right.
Oh my God, I love photographing men because they're so easy and they're just
I
like,
was going to say,
they just
absolutely.
show up and they're just like, okay, I'm here, I'm ready. I'm like, let's go. Boom, 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 boom. We're done. Okay, great. I got the pictures. Great. They're already online. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what's funny? See, that's kind of your Pisces moon, though, is that because Pisces is so compassionate and so full of love, and it is about that vision. And so I know part of that within you is that you want to help women connect with that love of themselves,
Right,
you
right,
know, and to see that vision that you see for them.
right. Plus,
Yeah.
I've been to all those dark, horrible places myself. So,
Oh yeah.
it's not like
You
I
know,
don't,
so
like,
much
I
to
know how you feel about your arms. I really do.
right. Oh yeah. About
I
every
love
little
them
thing.
anyway. And no one else is seeing what you're seeing. Like, you're the only one beating yourself up. Like,
Right.
it's such a common, anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I don't think I can comment on that since I'm just such a fan of having my photograph taken.
Yeah. Well, you're a tricky one because what I have noticed is, first of all, it's easier for me to see you on a video like this because
Uh-huh.
you actually come across as you on video.
Uh-huh.
But I've taken enough pictures of you to know that you
Mhm.
do not always look like you in a photo. And I know you say this, and I know you know this.
Yeah.
Um, and I can only think of one other person where I say this easily. They look
Mhm.
so different in every photo. It's
Mhm.
almost like they are multiple spirits, energies. Like it's like you have.
Yes.
I don't know. Is that
Yeah. Well,
some?
no, it is very funny because I actually have Gemini rising.
Okay.
It's dual, but as and Pisces on my midheaven at the top of my chart, so it can make it harder for people to see me clearly, but also for me to be seen clearly. And as you know, I'm a medium as well,
Yeah.
um, and so there is that thing about me that I'm a bit more malleable to spirit and to the environment. And but it's funny because I remember when I was a kid reading about how, and I'm not going to even remember, but certain tribes in Africa um, don't allow their pictures to be taken because they feel like it steals their soul.
Right.
And I remember as a kid, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. And maybe I've just always kind of held on to that, but also I'm not comfortable being, you know, in the limelight. Like, I'm friendly. I love to talk to people. I love to connect. But just, I don't know, just,
But how do you feel about people seeing you? How do you feel about being seen? Like,
yeah, well, you know what it is? I think it's also that I have felt uh, like a lot of people just don't see me.
yeah,
Anyways, even it's the thing, just about even being, people can look at you and not see you,
all the time. All the
obviously.
yeah.
And also because people, I think this is part of what's going on, why we're having like a timeout is that we're rushing around and we're not, everybody is so caught up in making their money, getting somewhere, getting online, and no one's really seeing each other, and yet everyone is screaming out to be seen. And
Yes.
it's like this, you're with, look at me, 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 but coming right back at you is look at me, look at me, look at me. And if that would just stop for a minute,
Mhm.
you'd be like, oh, hi, hey. And the thing is when people do that internally and they go within and see themselves, they don't need that from the outside, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that's also why I'm just like, I kind of like try to stay out of that whole kind
Yeah.
of thing. So yeah.
God, I could say a million things about all of that because
Oh,
it's exactly, yes. I mean,
right.
I have a thing about selfies. I just think they're ridiculous. And but they are a perfect description of exactly what you just said, which is everyone wants to be seen, and the problem is they think that the camera is doing the seeing, and it's not.
Yes.
So
Right.
to do a selfie is a complete waste of time because you aren't actually seeing yourself. You're trying so hard to capture yourself, but most of us are seen best as a mirror from another person. You know, like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, yes, there is the aspect of seeing
Right.
yourself, but
Right.
first of all, yourself attracts your friends to you, right? So
Hmm.
your energy is attracting a certain kind of person. That person's reflecting you back to yourself. You're always going to get a better picture. Well, not always, but let's just pretend. Um, you, you're always going to get a better picture in the energy exchange where you drop the guard and you allow yourself to be yourself, and then the other person can take the
Abs-
picture.
Absolutely.
And you can't take it yourself because you're looking at yourself in such a weird way anyway. Um,
Well, if you're right up on a painting, you have no perspective, right? You got to back up.
yeah.
And I love that you just said something about, look at this, I forgot it already. Um, oh, about drawing people into you. And also, that's why it's so important to be with yourself and be coming from your intuition and your own thing, because what you are is what you're attracting. And sometimes, I mean, I'm a medium, I do healing, I'm an astrologer. I attract a lot of people that need healing,
On
and
both sides of like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, both. That's true. It's funny. I was
Right?
mediumship earlier today. Um, and it's true because people on the other side, they do need healing because they usually have things they didn't say, or um, stuff like that, which is also a good lesson right now for us to be going within and going, God, is my life on the right track? Like, is this, taking am I walking the path to the future that I really want, or do I need to course correct?
Gosh.
And when I'm on the other side, am I going to be happy with what I did? Or, anyways, that's a little sidebar. But also, you being so empathic too, with all that water in your chart, because you have Cancer rising, that's 3 water signs, very significant. Um, is that exactly, you can draw people to you that need help. And that's one of those things where you can have that mirrored in then recognizing that about yourself, that you are a healer, but not also getting drawn into it. That's something, I don't know, it's a little kind of a wacky thing that I just said, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Like I have, because this comes up all the time, that I have to keep my own boundary. I
Yes,
can't do all of the work for anyone.
absolutely.
So it's true that there are people who have come to me. Oh,
Mhm.
wait, this is super interesting. So there are people that have come to me for photographs and it somehow doesn't work or doesn't click.
Right.
And I realize at some point that it's, well, I'm just thinking of a couple little examples, but
Well,
I realized in those cases that the person wasn't actually ready to be seen.
ha,
So they only let the guard down
uh-huh,
like part way, but
uh-huh.
not all the way. Cause it's a trust. It's a
Right. Oh yeah.
game
So
of
that's
trust.
a relationship right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And, so they might be okay with the results, but either they or I am just sort of like, yeah, that wasn't it. Like, I really want to do it again.
Right.
Um, that was a good start.
Uh-huh.
Or, you know what? We aren't the right relationship. So
Right.
let's just, cut the line and,
Right.
I'll go my way and you go your way and let's
Right.
not force this because, so many people think that getting a nice photo is about the photo. And I'm like, no, it's actually about the relationship with the person taking the picture. And that is also a reflection of your relationship with yourself. So you have to be strong enough to, depending on what kind of photo you
Right.
want.
Right. No, no, no. I'm like photo philosophy here, folks.
Well, like, no, I mean, if you just want a, whatever, pretty celebrity magazine,
Right.
sure, that's
Right.
easy. And by the way, those people are professionals, so they can just put it on and give you
Oh
an
yeah.
image, and it's
Yes.
beautiful, but it
Right.
doesn't really tell you who the person is
Absolutely.
until you feel the click of the connection. And I always use the Princess Diana Mario Testino example, but I'm going to have to come up with a new one because a lot of people don't even know who she. I hate to say, like, well, they know who she was, but
Wow. Okay.
like we're just talking
Right.
generationally, right?
Right. No, no, no.
And you
I
can
get
say,
it. Believe me, I'm
right,
running into that a lot.
I mean, I know where I was,
Uh-huh. Right.
when we all
Right.
heard, but
Yeah.
I need a new example. But what I'm saying is, you can see when those relationships are incredible,
Hmm.
because you can
Right.
feel the person
Yes.
on the other side. I felt this way about Herb Ritts and Madonna. Um,
Yep.
Although that's a tricky one because there's a lot of image manipulation going on
Right.
there. So I don't know if I really ever knew who she was or if I always knew who she was because she was trying on different
Right.
personas.
Right.
That's a tricky one. So let's
Right.
go away from the celebrity thing
Funny.
for
I
now.
think she has Gemini in the midheaven, Madonna. That's funny.
Oh, that would make sense, right? Like
Yeah.
shape shifting.
Yeah.
Um, but my real point is the connection thing, and then the other thing I've forgotten what I was saying. Uh,
Yeah.
that's
No, but it's the thing about, someone reflecting back to you, being seen. Um,
that's what I wanted to say. So there was somebody in our group, um, I won't say who it was, but who said, she came to me recently and said, I think I'm ready for you to photograph me.
mhm.
And that was such a honor, I think, when she said
Nice.
it that way, because it
Yeah.
was so like, you know, I was scared of you at first, and
Wow.
now I feel stronger, and
Right.
now I can stand up to you, and now I can let you see me. And I was like, wow, that's beautiful.
See, that is beautiful. And it's funny, and I'm glad you actually said that because Scorpio, and I'm so glad you said about, oh, that makes sense when you found out you're a Scorpio, because people are so intimidated by Scorpios usually because Scorpios have like a gravitas, they're just, um, God, I hope that's the right word.
It is. Like we can be so damn serious and heavy and Like,
Right. But the
real.
thing is, you're
Yeah.
just not superficial. You go deep, and most people, so many people are not honest with themselves.
Right.
And yes, Scorpio can really keep people at an arm's length. They're very private,
Yeah.
very, but they're, because Scorpio always wants to know everything about everybody else, because it's,
Doesn't, and then doesn't give it back.
and then doesn't let anybody know about them.
Right.
But so that is, it really is being vulnerable. If you're like, I'm going to let a Scorpio, take my picture, photograph me, because they know you're going to go in deep,
Right.
um,
Plus I could kill them if I wanted to, but
yes,
they're
yeah,
like
exactly.
trusting that I won't.
With snacks. And the thing is that, like, Scorpio actually like rules surgery, it's cutting. And so it just gets in there, just really,
You know whose birthday is the same as mine?
huh.
Sanjay Gupta,
Oh, well.
the like surgeon.
Yes and no, I know, but
Yeah.
what's funny,
Neurosurgeon cuts in your brain.
that's in your brain. But what's funny is we have to make sure he's an actual Scorpio instead of a Libra, because that's the day it changes. But I bet you he is a Scorpio. Remember, born on
Well,
the
the
cusp.
rule surgery, he has to be.
Yes, has to. But
Has to.
of course, he could be a Libra with his Venus in Scorpio, so that's his ruling planet. What's your Pluto's in Virgo? Okay, so what's I gonna? The thing I was gonna say was, um, the thing about like people reflecting stuff back to you.
Mm.
Anyways, just a side thing. I can't even remember what that whole thought was, but the thing of, when something irritates you, or you're getting, and I always say to myself, because I always hated this saying where someone's like, oh, you must have that, if it bothers you, you must have that same thing. And I always thought, oh no, I'm not like that person. And then I finally had to realize I wasn't asking the right question. The right question was, how do I do that in my own way? Like, what's my variation on a theme? Like, do I do that
Right.
a different way? And I think that's another thing about being seen. And I think that can be where people, so society has become so much about like, having this mask and going, see me, see me, see me.
Mm.
And see the mask and validate the mask so I can keep lying to myself.
Oh my God. This is the definition of why I hate marketing and
Oh yeah,
why
absolutely.
it irritates me so much. I'm like, you cannot fool me. And
Right.
I hate to be tricked. And
Yes. Oh God.
oh
Oh
God.
my God. If you betray a Scorpio, you just forget it. You'll
Yeah,
never
just
forget it.
go
Yeah.
die by yourself so I don't have to do it for you.
Yeah. Exactly. I know. I know.
And then I love the people who can stand up to that and just like bring it and be
Yeah.
real and honest. And I don't need it to be pretty.
Right. Life's not pretty.
Like
Comedy is
life's
pretty.
not pretty. I
Steve
want it,
Martin.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want it real, which is weird because I have this other side of me that's like all perfectionist and I want it perfect.
Right.
But I just want perfectly real.
I don't know what the problem is with that.
What's
So
the problem?
yeah. I,
Um,
I agree, because when it's real, it is perfect.
right. Right. Which is why I always say, like, I want to be backstage. I don't want to be on stage because that's all perfect.
Right.
I don't want to be in front of the stage because I'm being fooled by what's on stage. Like, I want to be backstage where it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Like two of my favorite video thingies ever. One was, Madonna's Truth or Dare.
Uh-huh.
Do you ever see that? It was all like,
No, I know. I've heard it's great.
oh, it's great. It's like it's the backstage version. And then
Yeah.
Beyonce did one. I forget what it was, but it was all like backstage life.
Uh-huh.
I love backstage life. I love like,
Yeah.
when I was first assisting fashion photographers, I kept thinking, why is no one photographing the backside of the model with all the clamps on the clothing and all the
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
and
This is
the
not
room
about
looks
that.
like shit and it's all a mess and like
Yeah.
why are we only ever photographing the perfect set? That's so boring.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's just so like this thing to me about what's going on is it's another thing. People don't want to look at death. And it's kind of like we don't want to see that other side, you know? And it's like we're all going to die.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not a secret. Everybody knows that's what's going to happen. And not to say, you know, to dismiss it or demean anybody's loss in any way, but there's this denial, especially in Western society, about looking at, you know, the whatever dark side of things, or the not so pretty side of things, and trying to just, mask it or put Botox on it, or get a wig, or you know what I mean.
Put Botox on.
Well, it's so true. I mean, especially,
Oh
um,
my God.
I kind of have to laugh with this whole thing where, I mean, especially in LA, and I think I talked about this on one of my astrology videos recently, where in LA, I mean, I'm born and raised here. I'm not trying to be a movie star, obviously. Look at my teeth. And um,
Even if
this,
everyone does think you look like Shirley MacLaine, but
oh
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. One of my hair is short. So yeah, that's funny because of that. But there's this thing where we have not been honoring our elders. We have not been at all, this is just especially, I feel like in America, I feel like other cultures, they do, but like youth has been the god, especially in LA, where it's like, you have to be crazy perfect beautiful to be in Hollywood. I mean, it's funny because I always resented when I would hear people call LA 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 Land, you know. um, and the more traveling I did, and when I would come back to LA, I'm like, God, these people are good looking, just even in LAX. I mean, I would just be like, wow, they're right, like this is a crazy place, because people are so, but I feel, but also so many people are drawn here because they're searching for that dream, and they
Right.
want to be seen. But I feel like they don't want to be seen for who they are, because then they go and get a boob job, they go and get, like their hair dyed and their teeth capped and whitened and bonded, and the nose done, and the lips done, and the everything done. I mean,
Mm.
sometimes I'm walking at the store and I'm like, oh, and it's just like the person doesn't even look like a person, you know? And I think that's so gone. That's part of this thing that's going on, is like getting back into allowing yourself to be seen as vulnerable,
Mm.
as real, as and honoring that, we age, and there's a grace to that, and there's a beauty about that. And when you have, like, I think, a good connection with family, I'm not going to use mine as an example, there's that thing that's passed down, and that whole beauty in that, and that wisdom from the elders, nurturing the future. That has gone very haywire. I mean, even if we just look as our at our country and leaders, as like being, you know our, the father of the country or whatever, you know what I mean? Anyways, there's my whole sidebar.
Well, and I feel like I don't know if you thought this, or you probably, oh, you don't even watch TV, do you?
No, what? What's
The Oscars, the very end, Jane Fonda came out with silver hair. Like,
Yeah, I didn't see that, but
it
okay.
it was like such a big thing, right? Because
Okay.
whatever, I mean, we all know her relationship with plastic surgery
Hmm.
over the years.
Right.
And then for her to like draw the line on the hair color and say, you know what,
Yeah.
this is it now. And
Woo.
it gave a lot of people permission, I think, to,
Hmm.
that trend has been going on for a while, like the white hair
Yeah, like when
versus
Keanu
whatever.
Reeves, Keanu Reeves' girlfriend, and
Yeah.
when he showed with the one with the silver
But it's
hair, and
beautiful.
yeah,
I feel like it is, at least it's the superficial beginning of the acceptance of the wisdom of the
yes,
elders. It's the
yes,
marketing
and
version
women,
of it in women. Yeah. Um,
ha,
and I look forward to more of it. I mean, well, actually, what's really funny? One of the people who watches all of my videos is Joseph, who does cut my hair and does color my hair. And
huh.
like, yeah, I want to just say, Joseph, how'd I do tonight?
It looks great. I told you when I got on, I'm like, wow, you look beautiful. Your hair looks great. I love the short hair. Love
Thank
it.
you. Well, it's funny because I was sitting here. So Joseph comes from Indiana to my house
Mhm.
and cuts my hair in my kitchen, just on the floor, and we wash it in the kitchen sink and
Awesome,
stuff.
right?
And and we just catch up. And he used to live here, but he moved to Indiana to
Mhm.
take care of his mom before she passed.
Oh,
And he's amazing spiritual guy and smart and engaged and political, gets all riled up all the time, more than I
right,
by anything political. But anyway, we're
right.
sitting here in the kitchen and Sydney's right there, and he's like, so what are we doing with your hair today? And it was down here ish, I don't know. And I was getting frustrated with it because
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
at a certain length, I'm like, I just put it in a ponytail all the time anyway. And and he was just like,
Right.
"Are we gonna cut it? Are we gonna cut it? Are we gonna cut it?" And then Sydney's like, "Cut it,
Uh-huh.
cut it." So between the two of them, I didn't have a chance. And so we chopped it all up. I didn't even think
Right,
about like going halfway, which is probably what I should have done. But I was just like, "Oh fuck it, just
right.
oh.
Do it.
Yeah." And then I went to Greece with Sue and the gang. And
Mhm.
Sue Mortar used to have super short hair, and then right before her book was being published, she decided to grow it long. So it was a process of
Right,
getting from this to what you have. Now her hair is
right.
your length, and I
Uh-huh.
showed up in Greece with this little short spiky hair, and she was like, "Oh man, oh yeah, I love
I
it, I
miss
love
it.
it, I love it." And she's just like, "I love the short little spiky hair," and I was like, "I don't know, I think I
Ugh.
made a mistake."
No.
Yeah, that's why I really felt like I wanted more hair back, like a sort of in between, slightly more
Uh-huh.
feminine. I don't know what. Because hair is
Okay.
like a thing,
Yeah.
right? And she's like, no, sometimes when you're having like a big transition in your life, it's actually great to cut all that energy off and start again. Um, and
Yes.
so it was sort of an energetic cutoff, and I don't think that much about where it's going. I mean, obviously right now it's going to be growing because there will be no haircuts, but um
Right.
yeah, but that's fine.
Mhm.
Yeah, it just makes it hard for you know online profile photos, and you're like, oh, and that one's out of date.
Well, it's funny because the people are going to be seen as they really are. You know what I mean? Like, I
Which I
mean,
love. Yeah.
people have been making that joke about, oh, pretty soon everybody's gonna know everybody's natural hair color. And for once, I'm glad I'm not a high maintenance woman. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, thank God I'm not dyeing my hair. And I guess, I mean, not that it would. So that is funny. Yeah, I've had my hair really short, like as short as yours. But
You
it's,
have? I didn't know that.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's especially when people would say that I looked like Shirley MacLaine. I mean, it was like this. Like, I'll have to show you. I'll try and find a picture to send to you. Yeah, it's crazy, like crazy short. Yeah.
Wow.
Um.
Well,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking we're up to like an hour 20. I
Oh
know
wow.
I know we're riveting.
Oh yes. I'm
Uh,
so. Just ask me.
we are so riveting.
Oh.
But we have to have a completely other call just to talk about like the Camino and the mediumship and
Oh yeah.
all these other things that you do.
Yeah.
Do you
And
like,
you.
you got so much, just so many dimensions.
This is so great.
This is
How
just
fun.
one. This was just one Laurie. There's other Lauries.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Gemini rising, right? So yeah, let's definitely have another call, and heck, let's just whatever. This is great. Just
I,
visiting, you
I,
know?
it's super fun.
Yes, it is.
Um,
always have great conversations.
I know. This was, you know what? I'm impressed. We kind of like we're on a track because
Yep.
normally it's more like ching, ching, ching.
Well, I was trying,
I was trying too.
yeah, I think we did pretty good. I think we did pretty good.
Yeah.
And I missed you, coming out, earlier in the year. So
I didn't come.
I know that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you missed me. Right.
I
Because
missed
I
that you
didn't come.
didn't come, because last year we had such a good visit, and went and
Yeah.
saw Andy and did all our fun stuff. So,
I'll be,
okay.
I'll be back.
Yeah. 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 All right.
Oh, can't wait. All right. Hold on. I'm going to,
So good
okay.
talking.
I'm going to, what do you say at the end of the movie? Oh, cut.
Cut.